I'm working on myself now for the first time in my whole life. 'Cause like I said, I thought naturally I'd just get better and like, just give it time, you'll be fine. And actually I'm like, no, I'm not fine. I need to actively work on myself if I want to improve.
Welcome to Season 2 of Making Conversation with me, Grant Brydon. I've been sitting down with some of my favourite artists and thinkers to discuss creativity and life for this fortnightly podcast. I'm thankful to have some incredible guests lined up to talk to in the next few months, and I'm looking forward to sharing these interviews with you. For this first episode, I spoke to Murray Matravers, a singer, songwriter, and the frontman of Easy Life, an eclectic group that are pushing sonic boundaries and redefining the British indie band. Ahead of the release of the band's second album, Maybe in Another Life, we caught up at Levi's Haus of Strauss in London to discuss anxiety, how to create a culture of vulnerability in a group of men, Murray's relationship with being a leader, and much more. If you enjoyed this episode, then please subscribe on your preferred podcast provider, and please check out my book, Life Lessons from Hip Hop, which is available now from all good booksellers.
I still get nervous. I get nervous for everything I do. Public facing, it's terrifying in general, but it keeps me alive. Keeps my heart beating.
What do you think it is that makes you? Because I think that's what we all do as humans, is that we challenge ourselves and push ourselves a little bit out of the comfort zone. What do you think it is that sort of motivates you to do that?
Yeah, I don't know. Like in general, I think being out of your comfort zone is always, it's not very, sometimes not a very nice place to be, but it's always, from my experience, you always get great results from that. And especially when you're like making music, to be honest. I hate, to be honest, if I'm making a song or a series of songs and they sound similar to something I've done before and they're very much in my comfort zone, I tire of them very quickly and I get bored of them. But if something makes me feel uneasy, I'm like, how do I approach this? How do I write for this beat? Or how have I ended up here? They're really exciting times. And being on stage, for example, is terrifying. I hate it. It's honestly, I don't hate it. That's completely wrong. I love it. But it's definitely not in my comfort zone. I'm freaking out. It's a massive thing, and it's a very physical thing. My nerves, I get like really nervous, really nervous. I'm an anxious person just when I'm doing my day-to-day life. Right. So like, put me in front of 1,000 people and I'm freaking out. But I like it. I obviously relish those opportunities. I do love it, but it's a weird one, isn't it? Yeah. It's kind of like going on a roller coaster. It's exactly the same sort of mentality, or dare I say, doing drugs or something. It's like, this is scary. I'd venture into the unknown. Anything could happen, but strap me in. I'm there. Let's go. And it's like, whoa, what's happening? And you always feel, not always, but 9 times out of 10, you're like, okay, that was a good experience. I enjoyed that. Yeah. With the roller coaster metaphor. With the drug one, maybe more like 5 out of 10. But so it's a similar thing. I guess like.
And I suppose it's that thing as well where actually the emotions, anxiety and excitement are very similar. How we feel them in the body are very similar. Yeah. So it's sort of like, I think we often try and sort of look at things like either or, but actually they can be and, as you just said, like you can be terribly nervous, but also enjoying yourself at the same time, right?
Yeah, it's a really interesting point, because you do feel both of those emotions in a very similar way physically and almost mentally as well. It's like, am I really anxious or just excited? Yeah. Or both. And it often is a combination. So yeah, it's an interesting thing. And like, I think we're lucky. I'm very lucky that I feel that sensation. You can go for years in life without feeling any excitement or any nerves and just sort of sail through, and I've done that for sure. And like, I look back at years that happened, and on the surface I thought I was happy because it wasn't a bumpy ride, but actually I was just surviving, and like I like being out my comfort zone, and I like the challenges of being in a band and doing the whole Easy Life thing. It's fun. I'm super lucky. I really am.
Yeah. it sounds like you weren't allowing yourself to really feel that spectrum of emotions. You were trying to keep it like as limited.
Yeah, I definitely. I think. Yeah, I mean, I'm still trying to work it all out now. To be honest, like I'm doing. I thought naively that the older I got, the less anxious I would feel. But sadly, it's the complete opposite. Like, the older I get, the more anxious and the more... Even, this situation, don't get me wrong, I'm not anxious now. It's okay. I'm not going to freak out. But, doing... Like we said, I've done many interviews or I've done many gigs, but that doesn't mean that I don't get nervous for the interviews and the gigs. I still, like they were the first gig, I still feel the same thing. And I thought, with practice I'd get over that, but you just don't. And in life in general, it doesn't seem to get any easier, which is, I guess it's a depressing thought, but in a way, like quite an exciting thing as well. But yeah, I'm working on myself now for the first time in my whole life.
Right.
Because, like I said, I thought naturally I'd just get better. And, just give it time, you'll be fine. And actually, I'm like, no, I'm not fine. I need to actively work on myself if I want to improve. I don't know how I've got to this point in this interview.
No,
we've got deep, but...
When you say get better, I wonder, like, what does getting better mean? Or what does that look like to you?
Sure. I think I just want to be a better person for like my friends and my family. I think a lot of being in a band and doing what I do for a living, it can be very selfish, to be honest. I spend a lot of my time trying to further my own career. That's sort of the nature of the game. I don't speak to many of my friends, and my friends are all chill with that. They get it. But it does kind of suck. Sometimes I'll go for like years without reaching out to my best mate, and I'll be like, sorry, man, I've been busy. Just a generic excuse, but it's not okay, Because that as soon as I need help, I'll reach out to him straight away and be like, hey, man, I need your help. And it's like, I only pop up when I need something. So I'm working on that. Also, like, my relationship, just like with my family and my girlfriend and stuff, like, I lean on them so much, and like I need to be better at that. Just trying to get better at just be a better person, because like I said, what we do is as artists or whatever, it is kind of it's very much a journey into oneself. Do you know what I mean? It is a selfish exploration. So I feel like now that I'm aware of that, I need to work twice as hard to maintain the relationships that I have, because most of my time is spent with my relationship with myself. So but yeah, I also need to just top of the priority is to cure never, but try and tame my anxiety, because that's got crazy. Right. I don't know what it is. I genuinely don't know what it is. I've always experienced it to some degree.
Right.
And like I said before, I thought it would just, in time, I'd understand myself and understand everything better, and it would just slowly dissipate into just a normal amount of nervousness. But I've been experiencing like wild panic attacks for no reason.
Okay.
So like I've been seeing doctors and shit now, and trying to be a better person for myself, not for anyone else. I guess for my family and stuff, but mainly for myself, I don't know how we've deeped it. We've been sat here for like 5 minutes, and I'm talking about like seeing doctors and all sorts of shit.
It's good.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, it's therapeutic. Thank you for letting me waffle on about all my ailments.
So with anxiety, because I think in society we're in sort of an interesting place with anxiety, because in some ways I think it's become almost quite glamorized, but obviously there's also more disordered anxiety, which is what it sounds like you're referring to. How does it, other than panic attacks, how do you think like it manifests? Like, what does it look like?
It's interesting because it's definitely widespread, isn't it, anxiety? And it's a term that's bandied around for like, and I actually was nervous to reach out for sort of professional help, because I was like, it's that sort of not stigma, but I guess it's very British and macho thing. It's like, no, you've got this, like, stiff upper lip, just keep your, handle your shit, just, you're okay. And like, I think that's it's a moronic way of thinking. So I was like, no, I need to actually, I need to talk to someone about this.
Yeah.
But how does it manifest? I don't know. Like, I feel when I realized that it was a problem, I was like, we were traveling. Maybe this was when I decided, I was like, no, I need to do something now. I've been thinking for about a year now that, like, as and when I get time, which again is a stupid thing to say because there's always time, but as and when I feel like I've got some time to deal with it, I'm going to sort it out. But we were traveling, we were in an airport the other day, about maybe 2 months ago, and I just had this crazy episode. It came out of nowhere. There was no reason. I still now don't know why, but I just couldn't move, and I was just freaking out. I was like glued to the terminal floor for like maybe like 2 hours, like just freaking out, crying, like in front of all my friends, like, and there was no reason for me to do that. Like, there was no external pressure. There was nothing. There was really, it was completely like a freak accident. And usually when I have those like bouts of anxiety, I'm usually on my own, or like if I'm around, I was with our tour manager, our lighting designer, like the whole crew, there's like 15 people. Like, if I'm in that professional setting, chances are I'll hold it down, because it's like, obviously don't freak out in front of like your entire team. Like, it's probably not the best look, So the fact that happened in that setting, that's when I knew, like, I just don't have a handle on this. Like, what is this? And it was mad. It gave me a fear of flying. Because I was like, shit, was it something to do with the fact it was an airport? Or, like, is it the fact that you're on a plane? And then suddenly I've developed this, like, fear of flying, which is really unhelpful, because I've been flying a little bit. And it's like, fucking hell, like, what's wrong with you? Like, you're not scared of flying. I love flying.
Yeah.
So I just noticed that, just, like, I feel like it's the irrationality of it that scares me.
Yeah.
Because, like, when I'm going on stage and I'm nervous, whatever form that takes, I'm like, that's okay. Anyone would be nervous. It's a nerve-wracking thing. And I'm like, yeah, I can rationalize the emotion and the feeling. It's when I can't that's scary. Sometimes I'll just be on a bus or walking down the street, or, I don't know. It's also hangxiety. You know about hangxiety? When you got a hangover.
Right.
Hangover, like, makes me feel crazy anxious now. Just because you're like, what did I say? Did I say something stupid? Like, do you remember when I did that thing at that bar? Was that really weird? And yeah, hangxiety is a real thing. So I'm trying to cut down on getting too drunk as well, because that can just lead to some, like, self-doubt. I don't know. Anyway, thanks. This is good therapy. This you're basically like my therapist. This is great.
So do you think it's in any way tied to the increase in success that you're experiencing? Yeah,
do you know what? I've had this chat with my girlfriend as well. It's like, I do wonder. I'm like, is it because, I have a public-facing profile? Is that it? Is it or is it just I was doomed to feel like this regardless of what happened, like what I do? I really don't know, because a lot of it isn't anything to do with that sort of stuff, and it happens in my daily life. It's not when I'm doing the easy life stuff, you know. Sometimes it just happens, like, at the supermarket or just in my house or whatever. I don't know. I really don't know. Yeah. But I guess, like, it's not uncommon, with artists or people that work in the music industry in particular, and film as well, and all the arts really have people that seem to be falling apart. So which is, I laugh, but it's not funny, and it's almost glamorized. I can feel a tinge of myself glamorizing it in a way now, and it's not good. So I don't know, really. I don't know. I can't answer that. Yeah.
No, because I think there's, from my experience, it often feels like as you're getting closer to the things that you want, the stakes become higher.
Yeah.
And then that can increase any emotion, I think, that you're feeling.
Yeah, definitely. I think something I definitely struggle with is everything's for the first time.
Yeah.
So, like, I've got no perspective, and it's hard to know if my perspective is a good one. So I might think, in a moment, making a decision, yeah, this is definitely the right decision because, and I'll be able to justify it. And then a year down the line, I was like, that was completely the wrong decision. Like, you just didn't know because you can't see and you've not done it before.
Yeah.
So I think one of the hardest things about what we do is like, or like, you know, achieving success is like each level of the ladder is like the first time you've been there.
Yeah.
And it's a whole new set of problems that you don't know how to deal with.
Yeah.
And you try and deal with them best you can, like anything in life. And it's often the way, isn't it? I'm lucky that I have like an older brother and older sister. So anything that's like strictly life related, chances are it's happened to them already because they're older than me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm blessed that I can ring them and be like, yo, this is a situation. What would you do? And they're like, oh yeah, that's happened to me. Or like your parents or whatever. It's like, yeah, don't worry, do this. But in the music game, it's like, I'm like, fuck. Sure, I've got some friends that are artists, but it might not have happened to them yet, or it happened differently. And it's like, oh God, it's the first time. So, you know, first times are scary, but they're good as well. You know, I feel like I'm painting in a negative way. Like a lot of the time, I'm, you know, how lucky that we are that I can sit here and talk about how my feelings for an hour. You know, like who gets to do that? So, do you know what I mean? It's, you got to have perspective.
Yeah,
I'm blessed and I love what I do. So,
of course, but I guess. It's also interesting because of the type of music that you make and because it's very much coming from you and you're open about how you feel.
Yeah.
There must be something weird in then sharing that with a room who are going to cheer and support it and sort of, you know, and obviously good.
Yeah.
But I wonder like what that does to you also in terms of the reassurance that you're getting from those people. And then when you say about decisions, you don't know whether it's good or bad. I suppose with a crowd, you're always going to get a good reaction. Yeah. Which maybe skews how you think about it.
Yeah, definitely. Like the crowds, like it's almost, if you're at your own show, it's different at a festival because some of those audiences, they're not there to see you. But at your own show, like you can't really make you can hit a wrong note, but other than that, you can't really make a mistake because they love it. They're there to see you. They're invested. They're there to have a good time. Like plain and simple. Like they don't really, you know, if I say something ridiculous, they'll cheer. They'll think it's funny. Or if I do something outrageous, they love it. Yeah. You know, so yeah, it's hard to know if it was good or not.
Yeah.
That said, there's always times when, rarely. I can honestly count on one hand the times that all of us as a band have come off stage and been like, that was amazing. And then you sort of go see the lighting designer in our front of house and he's like, yeah, that was great. They're so rare. Like every show, there's always at least one, usually more like 3 or 4 of us that are like, no, that wasn't good. Like we need to improve on X, Y, and Z. And like, I did this, I did that. And, we started to film the sets as well.
Right.
So and then watch them back and be like, no, that's not good. That wasn't good. That move wasn't good, or shouldn't have said that, or that needs to be slicker, or that guitar change wasn't right. And I don't know. It's we're very critical. But honestly, I really struggle to watch or listen to any of our output. Like I can't watch our sets back. I'm trying to because I think it's important to get better, but it's really hard. And I think a lot of that comes from the fact that like I kind of have to like when I'm doing the show, I'm very much I don't know. Well, I'm usually kind of drunk to be honest, but I'm also like very much in the moment, but only for that moment. When I come off stage, I'm like just back down to earth, like right. And then I watch myself and I see myself kind of, I don't know. I guess I really enjoy it. So I'm just watching myself enjoy it, and it's a very indulgent thing playing live. It's very much, it's like euphoria, man. It's a crazy sensation. So, and I think because of that, if anything we do it gets applauded, you know? So it is a skewed sense of reality, because I could literally, in fact I did, I got naked in, where were we? Italy. Like, just pulled my trousers down, because I don't know why, we were playing on a lineup with like Duran Duran.
Right.
So, and they were like the headliners. It was one of these like day festivals. But anyway, they were like, it was just full of like 50-year-old like men and women who had no idea, Italian people as well. They had no idea what was going on. So we were just like doing crazy shit trying to get their attention.
Right.
And like it was mental. Now I'm looking back at that, like it's funny, but it's just mental. What am I doing? Like, obviously don't do that. Like, it's a cheap gimmick at best, and it's like embarrassing, you know, like we're way better than that, or at least I think we should be. So you do stupid shit and it gets a cheer, and it's like, you could easily be like, that was amazing, and then I could start pulling my trousers down at every show and it would always get a cheer, and then it's like, no mate, that's not good.
Yeah.
And it's hard to know because your fans are always gonna justify what you do and say, yeah, this is great. You know, you could put a really bad song out. This is another thing that freaks me out. You could put a really shit song out and you'd still get messages like, I love this one.
Yeah.
Like, this is great.
Yeah.
You would, just because for someone it would be good, you know, and it's like, it's hard to know what is actually good and what's just people gassing you up.
Yeah.
But
no, definitely. And do you think with that skewed perspective as well, it can be worrying because I suppose there is a line somewhere whereby once you go, people will cheer until you go to a point, and then suddenly it's like everyone's gonna reverse and be like, oh, we, you know, disassociate, I guess. And that feels like a thing that happens culturally now. That's like, I think the more public you get, the more difficult that is going to be to navigate.
Yeah, that whole like cancel culture is like very prominent, isn't it? And it's something we joke about, like, as a band, we sometimes say, like, you know, God, if people could hear us now, we'd be cancelled, because we say some horrific stuff on the tour bus when we're, you know, joking around or whatever. Like, it's like, whoa. So, like, I don't know, you got to be careful. But I don't know. I also feel like I think we're good people.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to do anything mad offensive anytime soon, or like, so I think we're okay. But it is scary. I feel like, you know, you look at the actual pop icons of the world and people that really are, you know, top level and, you know, getting into, you know, front page of the tabloids and shit, like those kind of celebrities. I don't know how they do it. I really don't know how they navigate that shit, because that's mad. That's a crazy way to live your life. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah.
Even not even just tabloid people that are just like really, I don't know, your Kanye's or Kendrick's, Bieber, Harry Styles, those kind of like icons. I don't know how they do it, because they must be watched constantly, and they're just normal people. Like, people make mistakes, and if they make a mistake, that's like, oh my God, Harry Styles did X, Y, and Z, like, cancel forever, what a twat. It's like, you just made a mistake. Like, it's brutal. Celebrity and pop culture is brutal.
Yeah.
It's so brutal. That's the terrifying part, isn't it? And that's maybe why I'm so anxious. Maybe we've just found the reason, because I'm scared that people will hate me.
Yeah.
But
it definitely feels like the bigger you get, the more of your humanity is stripped away by the public. The way that they see you, you're like, as you say, like an icon, but not like a human being. Perhaps.
I think we're quite blessed, because our whole thing, or certainly I feel that this way, is like that we're really normal. So like, people don't glamorize us or put us on like ridiculous pedestals, or like, certainly the fans that I meet, like, they're always really chill, and like, we're quite like chill people, I think. Can you say that about yourself without sounding like a twat? I don't know. Oh, I'm trying to explain. I just mean like, look, I'm not Harry Styles, you know, so that's good. Although I'd love to be Harry Styles, but that's another story, you know. Like, I just think like we're not icons, or we're not, like, I think something, I know loads of our fans, I'm sure every artist does, but like, we have a relationship with them that feels kind of more, this is cheesy, I wish I could phrase it better, but it feels like a friendship. It doesn't feel like a friendship. They're not actually my friends, so I can't really say that. I just mean like, we engage with them, we communicate with them in such a way that like, they'd never, I think if I made a mistake, heaven forbid, those fans wouldn't be, they'd just be like, oh, he's fucked up, like, what an idiot.
Yeah.
They wouldn't, like, you know, nail me to a cross and lynch me or whatever. So I don't know if I've explained that properly. I just mean, like,
they'd be understanding because there's something deeper than just...
Yeah, but we're not, like, we're not celebrities, so we won't get treated as such. And I really feel that. Do you know what I mean? Like, this has all just got out of hand. Like, we've got, you know, we've come a long way, but we've got a long way to go, you know. Yeah. It's like we're nowhere... I could do anything right now and not get cancelled because no one gives a shit who we are. No one knows who we are. Yeah. Like, no one. It's really funny. Like, because when we were on tour in Asia, we've just got back from Asia. Out there, because we're, like, international artists coming over, there was, like, a bit of a frenzy. Like, people waiting for us at the airport and, like... You know, I had to sign, like, loads of, like, pictures of myself that they printed out on the internet and shit. And it was mad, mate. It was mad. It was honestly bonkers. Yeah. And, like, I felt like a proper rock star. It was crazy. And then you come back to England and literally no one cares. Yeah. And, like, I love that. I love that about, like, especially living in London. I think it's great. There's such a busy place and there's so much interesting stuff happening. No one cares. Yeah. And it's such a gritty place. I love it. It's very... I always hope it feels like this, you know? I'd hate to, like, be having this interview in 3 years' time and we're actually, like, really successful and it's changed us, you know? That would be shit. I like the fact that, we've got a long way to go and it's all just, I mean, we're constantly looking, there's so many better artists than us and that's what keeps us, like, that keeps me feeling just, like, I can't flex and I can't say, you know, I just don't feel any certain way because there's so many people that are better than us. Right. And until that isn't the case, like, then, you just got to stay humble and just be real with yourself. Like, we've got a long way to go. Yeah.
So do you think success is scary then? Because I guess, you know, you could become Harry Styles one day.
No, but we just won't. Like, we're just not good enough. Like, simple as. Like, we're gonna... we do our thing, and our thing's great, and I'm grateful, and I'm proud of it. But, like, in terms of a trajectory, like, success is great. I want success, but it will never be... You know, I doubt we're ever gonna have, like, mainstream commercial success in, like... such as Harry Styles. I mean, I don't know why we're using him, but he's just like he's a good reference point for, like, you know, but it's just not going to happen. And if it does, like, it won't feel the same because he's like, you know, beautiful statue of a man and, like, we're just, like, very fucking normal, you know? Yeah. And as long as I can always, I just love, like, I think our fans like that we're like the anti-fucking rock band. Yeah. That's how I feel. Like, we're so not rock and roll. We don't do anything rock and roll. We don't dress rock and roll. We don't look rock and roll. I don't think I talk particularly rock and roll. The songs aren't rock and roll. Lots of them are really sweet and gentle. Like, we're not cool, so... That's kind of our unique selling point, I think. Right. And I like that, you know, I'm proud of that. I'm like, it's just really normal. We just sound like, I guess, like, it started by us making music just in our bedrooms and stuff, and it still kind of feels like that. Yeah. And I like that. I hope it always feels like that, you know.
Perfect. I was really interested in the group dynamic and this thing of having a group of guys who are trying to sort of, like, be open with each other about their feelings and vulnerable and sort of, like, I think, you know, I read something in the biog that I got sent over about, you know, it being important to show other young men, you know, that vulnerability is okay and stuff. And I wondered, like, how you came to be a group of young men that feel that way. Was it always like that from the beginning, or is that something you've developed as a group? Like, how has that worked?
It's a great question. It's definitely not what it was at the start. We formed when we were young, I think I was 20, some of the lads were like 18, and you do not allow yourself to be vulnerable at those ages. Like, you just don't. You might think that you know, or even now, like, I'm 26, so I'm like, I'm older and wiser than I was now, but I don't kid myself that I don't know it all. You know what I mean? You always think, now I'm old, I get it now, and then you look back, you're like, I knew nothing. So, did we allow ourselves to be vulnerable? No way. Like, embracing your vulnerability takes a crazy amount of strength and bravery, and like, it's very difficult and something that I still can't fully harness, because if you can harness that in its true sense, like, I think that's a very powerful thing to be able to do. And like, we can't do that. And definitely when we started, we were all I knew Sam, the bass player, we went to school together, but other than that, we were all strangers. Like, we all met. Lou and Cass, the guitarist and the drummer, they were in a band together as well, so they knew each other. But as a collective, like, we were all brand new, like, we'd never met each other. So we sort of got to know each other on the tour and through this thing. And like, it's taken us, we've been together 5 years, and only genuinely, like, we still have so far to go in our relationships till we can be like completely honest with each other. So I think what I wish we could be more honest with each other. We spend so much time together, and sometimes it's really stressful being on tour away from home for months on end. Like, emotions can run high, and we don't have fallouts or whatever. Well, yeah, I suppose we do, and like, we have, it can get crazy, to be honest. Like, and those conflicts, they only come because we can't communicate properly, because we're scared. We're scared of being vulnerable in front of each other. And I think that's not just our relationships in the band, that's any relationships that I've ever had with anyone. It's like, you let your pride and your ego, and sometimes a lot of that is masculine traits, you let your masculinity get the better of you, or whatever that even means, like, and that happens all the time in the band. I think we're really good. We have these sorts of chats a lot. We're traveling, we've got nothing better to do than just chat about the state of the world, and we talk and we tell each other how we're feeling, and we do these sort of like group sessions. It's really healthy. But when we started, I think we were all just desperately trying to impress each other. It was all just like, look at this song I've written, and they're like, yeah, well, look at this like guitar riff, or look at these chords, and it might not have been put across like that, but we were very competitive with each other. Like, I think any group of new friends are secretly, we're just the same as any other group of mates. I think now, because we're, like I said, older, and like, I do know those guys really well now, we are a lot more open, and even if we say a lot of things without words, I can tell, like, if someone's having an off day, or if they've got problem at home, or if a certain situation's affected them. I'm like, I don't need them to tell me that now, because I'm like, right, they know, and they know that with me. I mean, I'm the worst, probably. I'm the worst communicator, or certainly I'm definitely in the top 3, because I communicate through my songs. There's so many times when I've sent a song to the band that I've written, and they've been like, bro, is this about this situation that we experienced? I'm like, yeah, it is, but why didn't you just say this? I'm like, well, I can't, I'm not brave. I can't just say this to your face, because I'm scared, I'm British, I'm nervous, and I don't want any conflict. So like, I'm the type of bitch that will just write it into a song, and so yeah, I think communication is good, and that's what I'm trying to put across to the fans. Like, if I can teach them, I can't teach them anything, because I'm not I'm still learning, but if I can convey my experience in any way, it's like, do your best to allow yourself to be vulnerable, like, embrace it, don't run away from it. I think that's what I'm trying to learn, and that makes better music. Like, there's songs on the new album that I'm not embarrassed to share them, that'd be the wrong word, but I was apprehensive about, like, sharing them, just because I'm like, well, kind of personal, But all my music's always been personal, but sometimes it might even be moments that if you were listening or reading the lyrics, you wouldn't even think, oh, that's particularly edgy or, you know, personal to the writer. You might glance over it, but for me it was like, can I say this? Or I feel like anxious about saying it, but I think now I feel empowered. I'm like, no, I can say that. It's important that you can say these things. And something I've always said in interviews and in the music and all the time is like, if I've felt something, then everyone else has felt that same way too. Or like certain chances are a lot of people have felt the same way. So talking about it can really help. Yeah. We try and talk a lot as a band because communication can solve a lot of stuff. And I've seen it so many times in so many of my friends as well when they're desperate, they want to say how they're feeling but they just can't, you know. I've seen it in women as well, girls. It's not just men. It's very typically men who struggle to really say what they want to say, but it can happen to anyone, you know.
I wondered, like, it's interesting because, you know, you're the lead singer of the band, but also within the group of men. What is your role within the group of, you know, if you strip away the music and what you're actually there to do as a band? Do you still therefore have like a leadership role within the group, or do you feel like you have to have that because of your role in the band? Like, how do those things
That's a great question.
interplay?
It's a great question. It's funny, we actually do have these chats as well as a band. Like, it's interesting because I think I sort of fall with, you know, into a quite a cliched role. I would say I'm sort of the leader,
right?
Or maybe I can say that. I'm the leader. I think if you ask the band that, they'd agree. Let's see. I'll do a survey later and let you know.
Right.
Actually, what was funny, we did like this quick fire interview thing on tour, just gone, like maybe a couple months ago, and I got voted the most responsible, which was a shock to me. I got unanimous 4 votes against me. I was like, wow, I wouldn't have thought that, but apparently I'm like the responsible, organised one, which, like I said, is the least rock and roll thing. You don't want your lead singer to be responsible and organised. You want him to be a mess, right? Chaos. Like, that would be way more successful if that was the case. But I think I'm responsible and organised. I mean, that's so boring. I am boring. I don't go out. I spend all my time at home. I don't party. I don't do anything. And that's my energy. So that's me in the band. Cass, the drummer, he's like, I don't know if this is stereotypical of drummers, but he's quite wild. He's like got a lot of energy, really hard working, like really motivated. He's like, you know, like a puppy, like a Rottweiler puppy, not like a sweet puppy, like an angry puppy.
Right.
It's great. Lou does like all of our social media, so he's like responsible for like the look of like our profiles, and he's also the youngest in the band, so he kind of gets the social media more than anyone else, which is quite funny. Sam's like everyone's dad. He's like super sweet, and like there's been so many times when, like, if you've ever got any issues, like, you go to Sam, and you might not even, if it's getting really deep, like if something's actually like really shit, you'll have a chat with Sam. Like, you won't bring it to the group. You just be like, Sam, man, I need help with this. And like, when I was having that crazy anxiety attack I was telling you about, I got Sam to just stroke my hair and my eyebrows, like, for hours. And sometimes now when I'm getting nervous, he just comes and strokes my face, and he's like, it's okay. I'm like, man, patronising motherfucker, but he's great. And Jord is just the best vibe. Jordan is the funniest guy. I stand by this statement. He's the funniest guy I've ever met. So he's like he's just like the vibe guy. If you're feeling, literally on any journey ever with the band, on any journey, there's always a moment when we're all a bit bored. You know, you've read your book, or you've, you know, spoke about what we need to speak about, like business-wise or music-wise. Conversation's dried. Without fail, someone will go, Jordan, do something funny, and he'll get up and he'll just smash it. He'll do something, and it's mental. It's hilarious, and that will keep us entertained for like an hour, and then we've got there, and the journey's gone. So Jordan's the best dude to have. He's hilarious. I'm desperately trying to get him. Well, Lou is actually desperately trying to get him to start like a TikTok.
Right.
Just like a personal TikTok, separate from just like doing his thing, because he would easily be the most famous, most loved, like, internet sensation of the decade. He is so funny.
Right.
He's hilarious, mate. And he's just, but he hates to be filmed. He's one of those. He's an introvert comedian. He doesn't want to be filmed. He can only do it when he's not being filmed. In fact, if you're ever filming him, just won't do it.
Right.
Or he will do it, but it's not funny. It's like he doesn't have that same conviction. But honestly, when you meet him, you'll get it straight away. Even he won't obviously just do something weird when he first meets you, but you'll just see it in his eyes. You'll know he's a very, very charming and hilarious dude. He's great. He's great.
When you talked about leadership or being a leader, like you couldn't fully own it, I noticed. You sort of were like, people say, like, how do you feel about being a leader in a group?
It's just typical, isn't it? Like, I think I don't know. I just find it embarrassing. It's like, why do I feel the need to lead and have control? Like it's something that I'm trying to figure out in myself. Is it? I don't know. Maybe I didn't have control as a kid, or maybe I felt. I don't know. It's a weird, like, psychological thing, isn't it? Why do I feel the need to lead? Because I must do. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. So, yeah, it's a weird one. And that hence probably why I'm a bit like apprehensive about owning the role. But I don't know. I also feel like it's funny. I do this because I really like writing music, and writing music and being, you know, like the leader of a group of men and women. We have lots of women in our team too, but or whatever. They're not the same thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The person who writes the music is like really is an introvert. Is like got so introvert. He's like talking all about himself in his music, and it's like really personal. That's why I do what I do. I love that side of it. And then all of a sudden, you've got to kind of run a business. Can I say that? Is it business? I think it is.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, it feels like it is. So it's really weird, man, because the two people are almost they're the polar opposites. So it's strange. It's strange. It's funny because you get into it to write music, and that I don't know if this is the case for everyone, but the certainly for us, the more busy and more success we get, the less music I write.
Yeah.
It's
I hear
fucking
that
paradox.
Yeah.
It's mental. It's actually mental. Like I write a lot less music now than I did when I was 20. Like loads less. My output is like a fraction of what it used to be. It's mad.
Yeah.
So
I wonder though, is the output sort of more refined now? So is what you're making now more it's like good enough to release now, whereas maybe then there was more experiment and
yeah, I hear that. But the experimenting is good.
Yeah.
That's good. I should be experimenting. So I miss having the time to experiment, you know. I feel I'm in a really good place creatively now, but certainly a couple years ago didn't feel I had time to experiment, and like the output has to be refined. So it's like, right, I have to write this kind of song, and it has to be good enough to release commercially on a major label. So it better be 3.5 minutes and have 3 choruses and be a pop song instantly. Do you know what I mean? I didn't feel like that when I was 20. I was just writing songs, and those songs are way better back then. They really were. Like, don't get me wrong, I've definitely got better at my craft, but like, it's just funny. I have less time to do it, and it's really annoying. It's something I'm constantly weighing up in my head. Like, why is that? It's just funny. It's actually hilarious when you think about it. You get into it. Someone even pays you to get into it because you're good at this one thing, and you spend all your time doing all the things that I don't think I'm very good at all. Like trying to lead these dudes or like make decisions. Like I said, it's always the first time, and people are like, "What do you think we should do?" I'm like, this option, is that good? Like, and then you do it. It's like, fucking hell. Well, God, don't ask me to make decisions. I don't know. So it's hard. It's like I say, I keep saying paradox, but it is a paradox. It's really strange. I don't know. I don't know if I'm a natural leader. It's a weird one.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm passionate about how the project is perceived and how it looks visually.
Yeah.
And how it sounds sonically. And because of that, I take control. I'm like, it has to look and sound a certain way. So often people are asking, that's why I think that's why I lead, because I'm like, I'm a control freak. I'm like, well, it has to be right.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I'm like, if I fuck it up, then that's my fault. But like, I won't let anyone else fuck it up because it's my thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm definitely a control freak. Maybe that's why I would like to lead. I'm a control. It's really bad. It's actually, I think it's good. It has its positives in terms of like easy life, but I can't let go, man. I cannot let go. I can like be in a party and have like 15 pints of Guinness and just be stone cold sober because I just cannot let go. And then other times I'll be like in a place where I feel settled and I can have like 2 pints and be like owning on the dance floor. Do you know what I mean? It's really weird. I cannot let go. Like I didn't feel the need to be in power or like not empowered, like in control. It's really weird. Some deep psychological thing.
Yeah. In control of, like when you say that, are you thinking about the project and making sure that that's successful, or just sort of generally like what is it that you need
like
to be
outside
in
of easy life, like
right.
I don't know. Like I cannot let go. It's really bad. That's like the main thing. Earlier I was like, right, I'm working on myself trying to change things.
Yeah.
That everything leads back to that. Like I have an inability to let go. I need to chill. I really need to chill.
Yeah.
And I can't chill. I have no chill. Like there's honestly been times where I've been like desperately trying to get drunk, so I'll be like, just loosen up. Like what the fuck is wrong with you? Chill out. Like enjoy yourself. You're at a party. And for whatever reason, I just can't.
Yeah.
It's mad.
And do you think that it's one of those things where that self-talk makes it even more difficult?
Yeah, because I'm like, I've just trained myself to like be. I don't know I honestly don't know what it is. I'm actively trying to find out. I don't have the answer to this question.
Yeah.
I'm fucking working on it. I need to know. And again, like, it's a selfish pursuit. I'm trying to find out because if I know, then I can harness that and I can use it. I can be like, aha, you're doing that thing that you do. Maybe don't do that thing that you do, and you'll end up in a new place, which will be out of our comfort zone, and it'll be good.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it's positive. It's a positive thing. I think we're dwelling on the negatives, like, I can't let go, but if I can find the reason why, then you can spin it, and that's the whole thing with, mental health and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's an unknown. Like, you have no idea why, and that's the frustration, and that's the scary thing. But if you can, if you can find out why, then I think you're halfway to feeling much better.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to work out. But yeah, it's a weird one.
No, it sounds really like a positive thing. I think it's interesting because a lot of this stuff you'll say, oh, we're dwelling on the negative, but actually I don't really feel like it's coming across.
Okay, good.
That way.
I have a tendency to like leave these sort of interviews. This is a really like lovely chat, by the way. Like, we've gone real deep, and I really appreciate it. And I sometimes leave them. I'm like, God, I just got so deep and so neggy. But I'm glad that you're saying that it comes across in a positive way, because I don't want to be that guy that just turns up and just bitches about, my anxiety for 2 hours, because that's like, no, that is a rock star thing to do, and like I don't want to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just preached about how that's not me, so it can't be me.
I'm interested in on the new record, obviously. I read that you're kind of using different characters and stuff, or a different character on that record, and we hear slight like voice changes and things like that. And I wondered, like, with what you're talking about, sort of how that has played into it, and the choice to sort of use these different perspectives within the record.
Yeah, I mean that was twofold really. Firstly, and sort of superficially, I just get bored of like recording my own voice. Like, it sounds the same, obviously, on every song, and I'm just a bit bored. So sometimes I'll record it and I'll be like, okay, let me just make it sound like someone else's voice, purely just to give my ears a break and like as an experiment. So on a superficial level, it's just like, I'd rather someone else be singing on this song because I'm so bored. Like, I'm 15 tracks into the album. Like, wouldn't it be nice to hear something else sonically? Because obviously the voices drive in the middle, like right in front of the mix on all songs. Like, it'd be nice to have a bit of flavour. Hence why we've got features, because I think it's like nice for someone else to just take centre stage for a minute. So there's that. But there's also like unlocking these strange characters. And I feel like if I give myself if I sound different, it's almost like I become this different character. I think an obvious one's beeswax. I use it a lot in that. Like, we all have these, we're not, as people, we're not just one person. We're all like countless little bits, aren't we? All intertwined. We all have these pieces of ourselves. And I guess like changing my voice in beeswax, for example, would like, I'd find that sort of egotistical maniac part of myself, and like he's like this weird alien dude with like this crazy squeaky voice, and I grab it, and then that verse that I deliver in that voice is like, I'm flexing. I'm like, I say some crazy stuff like about like, driving my car into a ditch and like getting fucked up and all this kind of stuff, and like caveat that with like the person, the me with my own voice singing on a song like Moral Support about, how lonely and how much I miss home and all these like real emotions, which I couldn't say. I don't think I could deliver such a, for want of a better word, I don't think I could deliver such a like a swaggy like verse in my own voice, because that's just embarrassing. That's not me. But in terms of like it's just fun, you know?
Yeah.
I just have fun. Like, I was having fun and I'd change my voice and I'm like, this feels good. And like this character, the person with this kind of voice would sing like this, and he would say these kind of crazy things because he's a crazy character with a squeaky voice.
Yeah.
And there's other times like on Growing Pains where I like change my voice to have like this low voice, and I was like this kind of like, I was like this soul singer giving it like this big like melody, and like it's quite fun.
Yeah.
Like even even the voice inside my head has my voice.
Yeah.
It has like the exact same voice. So it's quite a crazy thing because you have headphones on, so I can't hear my actual voice. Giving yourself a completely different voice is mad.
Right.
That in itself is like a social experiment, because it's like you do change. I think I even changed my body language. Like you become someone. And I do drink quite a lot when I'm in the studio, so I am slightly intoxicated. So you are just a bit like loosey goosey. And it's already hilarious, and it's already loads of fun. And then on top of that, you give yourself a crazy sounding voice, and like, it's really fun.
Yeah.
I would love to do a whole album with different voices, but I don't think the world needs that. That'd just be it's just not good art, but it is funny. It would be loads of fun to make, but I just don't think it's necessary.
I mean, it depends. It could be like, Madlib done that with Quasimodo, and Mac Miller's done projects like that.
He has.
Just under different names.
Yeah, what was the name that he used?
Delusional Thomas.
Yeah,
was
Delusional
one of the
Thomas.
ones,
Yeah,
but there's
sick.
a bunch of.
Yeah. See, that's exactly the same thing. I'm sure it's like you get bored, of your voice, and it also, again, I don't know how he felt, but you can say different things with a different voice.
Yeah.
You're a different character. You literally are. It's great.
Yeah, because that's what I was going to say. It sounds like there's more freedom in the writing process when it's not coming from you and your actual real life voice.
I know. That's the thing. Like, there's also this whole part of me that wonders if I should just quit easy life and become a writer, because it'd be so much easier. You don't have to like stand by anything that you write if you're just a ghostwriter, you know?
Yeah.
There's hundreds of people like that do that for a living, you know? So like, you get someone to come in, an artist, you write a song with them, they go out on the road, tour it, stand by it, talk about it. That's the hard part. The easy part, well, it's really hard to write a good song, blah, 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 but yeah. I think that's why I gave myself all these like weird voices, because it's like, well, then I can kind of apologize for saying the things I said.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't me, that was a character. I was drunk, it was different. You know.
What do you think it is then that makes you not go down that route of just being a writer? Because there obviously is more to it. You obviously are interested in, for example, like the aesthetic of the album and how that looks. You're interested in the whole rather than just writing the writing part and then letting go.
Yeah. Absolutely, you nailed it. It's that. Like, writing songs is great, and that is my hobby, or it was my hobby, and it will always be my hobby. But making films and doing the music videos, that I'm not ready to let go of that yet. That is so much fun. That's like so good. I love that, and doing the artwork and the creative, and like even the marketing, like the way that the record's perceived and the way that the assets that you make and the whole building a world around the music is so much fun. And you wouldn't get to do that as a producer, writer, or whatever. You just don't. Like, we get to do is make the song, and like it's quite two-dimensional, you know. I'm not ready for that yet. And also, I play humble, but there is obviously a part of me that just loves being the frontman of a band. There must be.
Yeah.
There just must be. Like, so, yeah, I'm probably not ready to give it up yet.
How is it to sort of balance the paradoxical sort of role, like those two things of, as you described, of writing a song and then doing sort of, I guess, you know, a day like this where last night you put out a song, announced to a date, today you're doing interviews and stuff. Like, can you then go home tonight and write a song, or does it take some time to get into that headspace?
Yeah, absolutely. I've never written a single song on tour. I've never even tried. I don't even take my laptop on tour. I won't go to the studio today. The writing process and all the other processes that we do, they're very separate. So I write. So once this album's come out, there'll be like, we do a little tour, and then there's basically from November till December, like there's nothing, and that's when I'll start writing again.
Yeah.
And then in January we start rehearsing for the tour. When we tour this, maybe another live album is like February, March, April, May, June, July. So like I won't write any music for the first 6 months of next year. I won't even try, because I just won't be able to, because I'll be like living this record and like taking it on the road, and I need to be alone as well, to be honest. Or if I'm collaborating with like a producer, or they're always like my close friends, so I need to be with them or in a safe environment. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's so annoying. Because I would write music. I think I would write music every single day as a teenager and young 20s, early 20s, you know. I'd write every day. I wouldn't be affected by my whatever it was I was doing in the day. Just do my day, whatever that was, and then write music in the evening, because that's just what I did. I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
I don't do that. It's more like, it's all very compartmentalized. I have to, okay, this month is touring, and today is a press day or whatever, and tomorrow is whatever, and then I've already said to you, November is writing, and like it's quite clinical in a way. But I look forward to it so much, and then when I get there, my girlfriend will say, like, I'm a great version of myself when I'm doing that.
Writing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I'm so happy. I look forward to it so much. I
Yeah.
can't wait. I really can't wait. It's great. I'm the best version of myself. I'm a good person when I'm in writing music,
Yeah.
and like when I'm doing all this other stuff, I'm not as good.
And I suppose from the way you've described that, and also I guess from what I think I know about the first 2 albums, while you're out living the album as you described it, you've also kind of got maybe an album or new music already recorded.
Yeah.
How is that to switch from where you're at with new stuff that you're making to then have to go back into live the old record and tour?
Yeah. I mean, it was weird with the first album because there was like lockdown and there was such a big gap between releasing it and touring it. So that one did feel weird. There was definitely times when we'd be playing songs and they were still new songs, or the newest songs that we'd released, but they almost felt old because they'd been around for so long.
Mm-hmm.
With this album, like obviously it's coming out in like a month or whatever, and then the tour's happening a couple months after, they'll still feel really fresh, regardless of if I've got new music. Like it'll still feel, it's the first time those songs have ever been played on a stage.
Yeah.
So that's like, and it's really close to the release date. They feel new, so it'll be good. But yeah, I mean, this is the thing. I don't actually know when the next Easy Life album's going to be, which is that's the first time I can say that in our whole career, because I've always, regardless of what I say in the press, like I've always known, and I've
Right.
always like had music in my back pocket. I honestly have no music right now. 0. No songs. 0.
Right.
That's never happened. I've never been in this situation since we started the band. So I love it. It feels so free. Like I have no idea what the next album will sound like. It's going to take me a long time, I think,
Yeah.
because we're touring so much next year.
Yeah.
I don't actually know when I'm going to write it. But then again, I might get to the studio in November and every day write a new song. That's never happened before, so probably not. But who knows,
Yeah.
you know? Or maybe I'll write... It's not even... Starting an album, it's not even about writing a quantity of songs. It's more like, what's the album going to be about?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's like a huge question that needs answering before you start. What does it look like? Another thing that I try and think of before I've even started writing. And then what does it sound like? Which is like a huge question as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of need to answer those all at the same time. So you got to like, it's a weird one.
Yeah.
And then you need to write the song. So
Yeah,
it's a mad process, and one that takes me ages. Or maybe it'll happen like that, but I don't know.
Yeah. What are you most proud of about what you've achieved so
fucking
far?
There's been like some really lovely times when we've met fans that, like, I feel they've told me that like we've had a positive impact on their lives. And some of their stories have been just unbelievable. And they've said that we've changed their lives, or we've made them think about a situation differently, or that's mad. Not many people can say that they've like had a direct impact on a young person's life. And I mean, lots of people can.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Loads of people can. And it's not just this job that enables you to do that, but I just mean, like, I'm very proud of that. It's, honestly, there's been some times where we've just been, like, fully just moved to tears by somebody's story, and they've incorporated us in that story, and it's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. We never thought this would happen. Doesn't even have to be deep. Like, sometimes it's just like really nice. Like, there's loads of people, like loads and loads of people that I've met at Easy Life shows, and their common interest is Easy Life, and then they realise that they have other things in common, and they've become best friends. Sometimes they become like partners or whatever, and like, that's mad.
Yeah.
That's mad. Forever that's like in their story, like, oh, how did you guys meet? Oh, we met at an Easy Life gig, or we met at a gig, and oh, what band was that? It's Easy Life. Oh, wow. Like, yeah, like, it's mad that that's like a thread of their story now.
Yeah. For sure.
It's so sick.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
actually so sick. And like, I don't know, I've met so many, especially abroad. I think in England, like, we're a little bit more closed. Like, when we're on tour, we don't go out to the pub next door to the venue because it can get a bit hectic. But when we're abroad, like, that's exactly what we'll do.
Yeah.
And we'll spend the whole night there and we'll speak to everyone. And like, I've made some like amazing friends because of that. Like, just hanging out, and they come and chat to you because they like your band. But then after that, you just, I've honestly made some crazy mates. I've met some mental people, some such inspiring people, like, all over the world. It's sick.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of that. It's sick. It's so cool. So cool.
Perfect. And then lastly, to bring the interview to a close, what does success look like to you?
God, I don't know. I'll tell you when we get there. I have no idea. And I've been banging on about it. I would love to be at ease with myself.
Mm-hmm.
That is what I would call personal success. Like, knowing yourself to a point where you don't do any unpredictable, scary stuff. That I would feel very happy if I got to a stage where that was true. I guess that's like being happy, you know?
Yeah.
Which is a very generic answer to that question.
No.
But yeah, I'd love to have a deeper understanding of myself. That would be success.
Thank you for listening to Making Conversation with Grant Brydon, featuring Murray Matravers of Easy Life. If you like this podcast, then please be sure to rate, comment and subscribe wherever you're listening to podcasts. You can listen to Easy Life's Maybe in Another Life on streaming services now, and check out my book Life Lessons from Hip Hop, which is available from all good booksellers. Thank you to Levi's for welcoming us into Haus of Strauss to record, as well as Eroy Chan for the graphic design, and John Phonics for the instrumental that I'm talking over right now. You can connect with me on social media at Grant Brydon, and Murray, along with the rest of the band, at Easy Life on all platforms. I'll be back in 2 weeks with another episode.